So this is the pressure regulator that I'm going to remove, and I've got the supply and return hoses here. I'm going to figure out which size is which, and that goes up to the flex fuel sensor, which is going to get replaced with a GM style, and then all that's going to get replaced up there too. So, fuel system. Unfortunately, I've hit a roadblock here. The return tube comes down and goes to what looks like another pressure regulator, and then dumps into the tank. So, I think I'll be fine just ditching this. And I mean, so the whole point of this coming down low is so it doesn't aerate into the tank. So as soon as your fuel level drops below that, it'll start to create air bubbles, and then the pump can cavitate. So maybe I can put a hose on that and just kind of let it drip down, zip tie it to here so it doesn't flop around. I'll have to think on that. But the top here, and I did manage to find a fitting for it. And I ordered it, so as soon as it gets here, you'll see it. It's a adapter like this for the fuel line, 5/16. That's the return, but it has a 90 built into it because I initially ordered these tight radius 90s, the 6ANs, but even after this thing's installed, that's just going to be too tall. I just don't think there's just going to be enough space there. And if there is, awesome. This is a lot cheaper of an option. That other fitting alone was like 20 bucks or something like that. But as always, there'll always be a link in the description to the full spreadsheet with all the links to all the pieces and part numbers. So the other parts of this, I got just a inline fuel filter. There's the GM flex fuel sensor. Just going to basically replace the factory Ford flex fuel sensor, and the rest of it's just fittings and random bits that you'll see as I start piecing this together. But I'm gonna pull this thing apart and swap out the fuel pump, which is the star of the show here, a Walbro 225. So they got bought out. TI Automotive. So it is what it is. But the actual install kit for the Ranger, you can get it on Amazon. I've got the link to that. It's meant for this pump. So this pump has a different outlet, or inlet, I'm sorry. So the factory Ranger inlet is like almost the size of the bottom of the pump, and then this Walbro 225. They do have an option for that style pump, but I opted for this because it was easier to come by. And what this will let me do is put that there, and it looks like I got the wrong direction pickup tube because it's going to be facing this way. Not a big deal to flip the pump around though. But the actual, I did order the actual pickup kit, and it should be here soon, so if that's different enough to make this work, I'll be using that. So the fuel pump wire, the kit that came with, or that I bought, has some really nice heavy duty, probably 12 gauge wire. The factory Ford pump assembly has a connector here, and I just did a visual, found a connector that'll actually work. So that's awesome. I'm just gonna crimp the ends of these wires and just have like a little service loop. In case I ever need to upgrade the power wires later, I've got plenty of extra slack to work with. And as always, the part numbers for this will be in the description, well, in the spreadsheet that I have linked in the description. So these terminals don't need much of these terminals don't need a very special crimper, but you do need something that can fold the open barrels around. The wires here already had some insulation cut, so you just slip over the insulator or weather seal. I'm going to line it up about there, and this length of exposed wire is actually pretty decent. just over 1/8 inch for these connectors at least, or these terminals. I'll lay that in. These terminals actually might be a little too small for this. That's unfortunate. Alright, I'm gonna have to get larger gauge terminals for this wire. It's just not gonna work. If I tried to crimp it, I mean, I can show it. It's not gonna grab the wires or the strands. Yeah. It looks, it's going to be difficult to see, but the tangs didn't wrap around and then sink into the wires or into the strands, so it's a very weak connection. You can see it's coming apart. So more parts to order. So here's the factory flex fuel sensor. I've already tried to take it out, but the bolts broke. Oh, made in Mexico. That's cool. They broke pretty much right away. So I'm trying to fish it out of here, and it's intertwined with some other hook lines there. Here's the filter regulator thing. It just pops right out. All the lines pop right out of their clips pretty easily. Looks like there's a mount up there for that big guy. So I'm just gonna keep on hammering, getting these things out. The lines up there I had to cut off because they ran too close to the brake line. Couldn't actually get them out in one piece. Oh well, don't need them. I grabbed the flex fuel sensor bracket off the frame and the fuel filter bracket off the frame. The fuel filter is going to fit in there. That's awesome. I don't want to stick it in there. I don't know which direction it actually goes. But what's just as cool is this little cheapo bracket that I got for the flex fuel sensor. Lines up to one hole. So drill one hole and it fits perfectly. Fuel lines come up from through the frame rail right here. Drop right down. Keep on going. So that bracket fits pretty nicely here, like this. So I had to drill that hole, and I ended up drilling 2 holes where those 2 screws or bolts would go through, but I really didn't need them. They don't protrude past the end of the plate here. But this, I mean, this worked out perfect. I'm super happy with it. So pop those 2 in. I don't see this need to being, or I don't see this needing to be super tight, because after all, it is just a plastic sensor, and it's fairly cantilevered on either side. But there it is. Hell yeah! So in the truck, it'll sit. This will be the this direction will be the front. The factory connector, the wiring harness comes down and should reach after I swap it out. Which, by the way, I should have all the remaining fittings and connectors to make this system finalized. So in my sluicing around, I managed to find an install kit that has the filter in the right direction, and it comes with a connector already. So it's like, it's dumb not, I mean, this was like $16 shipped. I'm not gonna, I'll include a link to this stuff, but, you know, if you just buy this kit, I don't think you're gonna need it. But let's dig in and see what size these terminals are in this kit. Yeah, these are the small ones. So, regardless, you're gonna have to order the larger terminals. But you can see the flag here. Actually, I'm just gonna cut this open. Alright, you can see the difference here. The terminal on the left is the larger gauge wire terminal from Ballinger, and the one on the right is the Chinese knockoff. So it would be good for, I want to say like 16, maybe 16 gauge, 14 pushing the limits, and this one is probably good for closer to 10, maybe 12 max. They do give a range, I just don't remember it offhand. So that's a far superior terminal, but it'll still work in the Chinese connectors. So, you know, save a couple bucks and buy this kit. Oh, that plastic does not feel nearly as good as the legit one, but it would still work. So let's grab, wait a minute, I need the hanger assembly. But yeah, I'm getting all discombobulated here. Ooh, comes with a return hose. Let me grab the alrighty. Let's start already. I got the fuel hanger here. Make sure we can see everything. So this is the connector that comes with it. Let's see, where did that go? Right there. Looks like the seal is giving me a little bit of trouble, but I think it'll still connect. Yeah, hell yeah. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and get those two terminals crimped on, and then we'll come back to this. And there's that. I did the terminals here. Got the flags, or the tangs, whatever you want to call them, over the wire. Probably gonna have to do here first. I do have a set of ratcheting crimpers that might be better for this, but I've had mixed results with them. So that's a pretty decent crimp there. It's folded over, goes right into the wire strands. This isn't the most ideal crimper for this, but it'll work for sure. And then the final part to these are these little retainers or locks. They just come in from the back and get clicked into place. Cool. Let's try this. That seal is being a pain in the ass. I'm gonna get some Vaseline. There we go. Little lube goes a long way. So now that that's connected, we got power to the fuel pump. That's just gonna loop around, just kind of chill in there somewhere. Let me get this stuff apart. If I align this fuel line up to be in the ideal spot, it puts the inlet on the far side here. Now what this screen would do is point that inlet back, and not that it would interfere with that, but there might be something in the tank, like a baffle. So this pickup actually faces the correct direction, and this is the pickup in that $16 kit, $15 kit, whatever it was. So this is the one I'm going to use. Plus, it has a little metal retaining ring thing built into it. Okay. Had to just put some pressure on that, and now it's on there, locked in place. Alright, now I have done this before. I have forgotten to tighten these up. Put the thing, and it was an arranger too, of all things. That's better. Alright, that'll keep it from popping out on me while I'm doing the install. Now for the return line. This kit came with this. I don't think this is supposed to be what this is for, but hell if I'm not going to use it here. So it's going about there. So I'm just going to hose clamp that on there and then zip tie this down. It's a lot better than it just dumping from way up there. That covers the internal work to the tank done. Now for the external, let's see, where are you going to be able to see this? Okay. I got that fitting in. I'm going to see if it works. It did come with 2 retainers, which is interesting. None of the other fittings did. Okay, this goes on first. And that goes on. Wow, that is perfect. Look at it. I mean, it's hardly any taller than that. That's, fuck yeah, dude. Oh, I'm stoked about that. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go stick this back in the tank. And then I guess it's time to mock up fuel lines. I've been waiting to do this for a while now, because I've been waiting on parts.